We are WNST, Jasper Baltimore, AM 1570. We're Baltimore positive. We hope you set a spot out on your radio dial if you're driving around that you find us. You may hear some Northern Lights conversations, some baseball off season, some Lamara mania around here, as well as just a whole bunch of great people and places and the companies that make us happen. And the Maryland Crab Cake Tour is back out on the road, presented by the Maryland Lottery. I have these Raven scratch-offs. Been a lucky batch. We had them at Pizza John's in Essex last week, as well as some great conversation with friends around my birthday. We are putting together a dozen Crab Cake Tour stops the rest of the year. We're going to be at Coco's. We're going to be at Costas. I'm wearing my Costas shirt in Dundalk. We're going to be at the Cooper's North soon with Patrick Russell and my friends up there, as well as at Fadley's, and just getting around town, doing what we do. This guy here gets around town, and he does fill in for John Martin here, the executive director of all things Maryland Lottery and Gaming, especially when the Cleveland Guardians are on the ropes to the Yankees. I'm not shocked that John was unavailable today, and instead, a fellow eliminated baseball fan. He is a Pittsburgh Pirates fan. I am a Baltimore Orioles fan. Didn't go well in 79. We're not going to talk about that here, but it's hockey season for Yins and Nad. And hey, your football team's not bad. I mean, come back in a couple of weeks. We'll talk Steelers, Ravens. They have a quarterback controversy in Pittsburgh. Maybe we should talk about that, Seth Elkin.
Good old-fashioned quarterback controversy, which we had to know this was coming, right? You signed two QB1s in the offseason, and neither one of them is under contract for next year. You know you're going to have a problem brewing. So we have a good old-fashioned quarterback controversy. We haven't had one of these in quite some time in Pittsburgh, so I guess we were due.
Listen, when it's Tommy Maddox or, Mark, whatever his name was, like neither one of them were any good. Mark Malone. Neither one of them were any good, right?
Yeah, I don't think
different. I think both of these guys are decent. I mean, Russell Wilson, maybe the shine's gone on that, but Fields, I'm not convinced either one can't play. And now that Sam Darnold's been resurrected, I've seen Geno Smith get resurrected. I've seen guys that got scrap heaped that, get a second opportunity and come back. Baker Mayfield, maybe that guy beating the Ravens on Monday night too.
Some guy named Joe Flacco might fit into that category too.
Well, he looks so good in that Colts uniform. Isn't it criminal? Isn't it terrible how good he looks?
He can still throw the ball though.
Yeah, he can.
He can't move. Don't ask him to scramble, but he can still throw a nice ball.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers can scramble either, and his team stinks. So, we have quarterback controversies everywhere. But I must say that the Ravens have settled in nicely for a 4-game winning streak. They play on Monday night. As we begin, we have a lot of millionaires we've made here. I'm going to get to the news, but let's start with this. The Ravens scratch-offs. This is your most popular game at the Maryland Lottery. I've told folks that, and it's very obvious to me when I went around Coco's the other day or Pizza John's. And people see the purple bird, they do identify with it, maybe even more so than Game of Thrones, which I don't know Game of Thrones. I'm trying to figure that out. But the Ravens thing, we're in swing here. And more than that, people are winning big prizes, experiential prizes, but there's just a lot of winners involved in this game. I've noticed that.
Yeah, we had one of the $200,000 winners on the Ravens times 10 ticket that was just here this week. But maybe more importantly, we just had the latest round of our second chance winners in the Ravens contest that were drawn just this week. So we got a whole fresh batch of folks. We've got.
It wasn't drawn just this week. It was drawn on my birthday. It was on October 14th because I saw the deadline on that. Whenever I see October 14th, I think of me and John Wooden and Thomas Dolby.
That was the deadline, and the drawing happened October 15th. So
that's Jim Palmer's birthday. Different day.
It's somebody's birthday, right? Well, whether it was his birthday or not, James Jones from Lusby was happy because he is one of the finalists for the season tickets for 20 years prize, and he has also won $10,000 by being drawn as a finalist.
I always forget that part because I'm like, yeah, the tickets are nice and like, okay, maybe you're a big fan and it's a lot of tickets, it's a lot of games, all that, secondary market, whatever you're going to do with the tickets. But $10,000 up front, I forget about that part. That's
the finalists get $10,000. Yep, $10,000, and they get to find out early next year sometime. We'll do an event and we'll find out who our Ravens season tickets for 20 years winner is going to be. But meanwhile, we gave away season ticket packages for 2025. The other big one, we announced the 3 winners who will go with the team, travel with the team to New York for the December 15th game against the Giants. That's going to be Leonard Brown from Granite, Juan Garcia from Riverdale, and Raymond Jones from Salisbury. The 3 of them, and they will each get to bring one guest. and they will travel with the Ravens and on the team train. And as you mentioned, maybe get served some dessert by Roquan Smith while they're on their way up
Well,
there.
cheesecake could be really good. And you know what? New York's been alive with baseball all week, and I almost went up to a game, like I told you, and was thinking about maybe going next week or trying to do a game. New York's alive. I mean, every time I see the overhead shots at Yankees or Mets games, I'm thinking there's still a lot of people who've never been to New York. And even like Luke and I had a discussion about New York pizza because we did the show at Pizza John's last week. We're talking about New York pizza, New York style pizza and whatnot. And I'm thinking, you go to New York the rest of your life every weekend and discover new things all the time. So New York doesn't sound like as good a trip as London or this or that, but New York's a great trip. I mean, and people don't use New York as often as I've learned to use it as I've gotten older on a $20 bus to go up to New York for the day or whatever. New York's an awesome trip.
And a lot of fun for that away trip, no matter where we go. It's such a great experience for the people who get to go and make that trip, and they get first class accommodations. They get to go down on the field for a little bit. They get a real great experience, and it's something that the lottery's partnership with the Ravens allows us to do. I mean, these kinds of prizes that are connected with the Ravens Second Chance contest are things that you're not going to find anywhere else, and I think that's what makes it unique, and it's what makes it special to our players, as you mentioned.
Tell them I want to be the +1 if they're there. Seth Elkin is here. He does all things Maryland Lottery. Give everybody your official title because I always like to do that.
I am managing director of communications. So my team handles all of the incoming inquiries from players about any and all things related to the lottery. And we're also involved in coordinating our presence out at events. We probably do 60 or 70 events a year that you can find us set up, including on Ravens Walk for all Ravens home games. You can come and see us and spin the wheel and have a chance to win a lottery item and maybe get a lottery ticket as well.
Well, this is a good chance for me to plug my friends at Liberty Pure Solutions at 1-800-CLEAN WATER, as well as our friends at Curio Wellness for putting us out on our 26th anniversary Oyster Tour. Because I ran into Gail, I ran into your folks at the Oyster Recovery Partnership, the World is Your Oyster event 2 weeks ago at the B&O Railroad Museum. Those videos will be coming up. I think that was day 21 or day 22. I had my oyster that day with Finn McCusker, Scunny McCuster's son from Nacho Mamas and Mamas on the Half Shelf. We're going to be doing the crab cake tour out there in Owings Mills a couple weeks from now, so I'm looking forward to that. All of it brought to you by friends at the Maryland Lottery. We give these away at the Maryland Crab Cake Tour. I usually have John on. He goes away when the Guardians aren't playing well. He sends me Seth to try to tough talk me about the Steelers and the Ravens and all that stuff. But, every time you come on, you're sort of a little bit of a plant. I get a text and say I'm pinch hitting, for John this week. Every time I bring you in, somebody's winning $1 million or like a couple of people are winning $1 million because my wife is a Mega Millions. And I know some rules are changing next year about $5 games. John and I went through and I'll figure it all out by the time it's like the 2-digit game. I'll figure that out when it all happens. But the $1 million winners, if you have CMD lottery on your thing, you've won a whole lot of money, right?
Yeah, we had a big one in the October 15th Mega Millions drawing. Now, first of all, the jackpots are starting to creep up there a little bit. As we speak, the Powerball jackpot is up over $400 million. The Mega Millions jackpot is up over $180 million. And we had a big one. We had a $1 million Mega Millions winner. The lucky player purchased that ticket at Check Cash Depot in Brooklyn. So if you bought your ticket for the October 15th Mega Millions,
it's Brooklyn, Maryland, not Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn, Maryland. That's
right. Over the tunnel, right there. Yep.
We wouldn't be plugging a win on a ticket sold in Brooklyn, New York. So yeah, Brooklyn, Maryland, just to be sure. But we got a $1 million win last night, and in addition to that, a $10,000 win on another Mega Millions ticket in that same drawing that was sold at Briggs Cheney Deli in Silver Spring. So 2 big wins last night in Mega Millions, and that $1 million win is the third win of $1 million or more that we've had in the last week. Last week, we had a woman from Elkridge who actually bought her ticket in Owings Mills. It was a 200 times the cash scratch-off ticket, and she won $2 million.
Whoa!
And we also had...
That's $1 million more than $1 million.
That's a nice one. Imagine scratching that off. And
better than $1 million, it's $2 million.
She's told us she's making retirement plans now after many years of working. So that'll certainly
that's beautiful, right?
Help out with that. Yeah, $2 million prize. How about that? And then in addition to that, we had a second tier winner on the Cash for Life game. The Cash for Life drawings are every night of the week. The top tier prize is $1,000 a day for life. Or if the winner doesn't want to do the annual payments, you get that paid out in annual payments of $365,000 a
I
year.
always ask, hold on. I always ask Martin is I got to stop you because everybody's listening and they're like, Ness, call BS on this. Like you, so thousand a day for life. That's 365. Like I can do the math on the
Yep.
366 in the leap year, right? So you're paying me for that too. Um, I'm 56. I feel good. I mean, I feel good. We just lost Phil Jackman at 87 this week, and I'm thinking I thought about this with Phil, and Phil lived tough the last few years of his life, but I thought he had 80 really good years, and I'm thinking if I think I'm going to have 25 more years, I want to hold you and John, all you up. I want to live a long time.
Well, so
And I'm
you
thinking
have
to
your
myself, how do you even equate whether I want 1,000 a day for life or some cash payout and saying, well, that means I'm going to die when I'm 73. Or if I lived till I'm 74, I would have get $1,000 a day if I just would have taken that money back when I was 56. So I don't know the math on this, but it is a fun little thing to discuss.
We hope people aren't making that calculation. Hopefully, it's a matter of what works best for you and your finances and
If I
what you
was
want to
young
do.
like you, I would definitely take the cash for life because I would
I'm
think,
not that much younger than
I
you
know,
are.
you just
The
look
bald
younger. I
head
don't know
should give
why it
that
is.
away. But so that's the top tier prize. We had a second tier winner in Cash for Life on a ticket sold in Montgomery County. The second tier is $1,000 a week for life. So you have your choice there of annual payments of
That's not as much as 1,000 a day.
52,000 a year,
All right.
or the one-time payment of $1 million. And the winner in Montgomery County chose that one-time payment of $1 million. So that's another $1 million win. 3 wins of $1 million or more in the space of a week. And we had, I think we went over this number once. We had 33 wins of $1 million or more last fiscal year. So those things are happening on a pretty frequent basis, and certainly that's what I know everybody is hoping for when they play. But you're much more likely, obviously, to win a much smaller amount. But those $1 million wins, they happen, they're out there. So fun for us to celebrate, and we're certainly waiting to celebrate with this Mega Millions winner who bought this ticket at Check Cash Depot in Brooklyn last night.
I'm going to ask John about this next week. I'm going to give him a little chance to study up on it because I'm figuring somewhere in 2011, somebody won who was 31 and said, I'm taking 1,000 a day every day. And I'm wondering, like, if this person continues to live forever, how they do all the number. I'm not a math guy in that way, but I would become a math guy really quickly if you offer me $1,000 a day for the rest of my life or a lump sum payment of something, and wondering whether I'm going to live long enough to get there or whether I'm just going to make John Martin have to, I'm going to win no matter what. Long after he's gone, you're gone, everybody's gone. If there's somebody out there milking that cow, the way the ABA owners, you remember they moved they made all the NBA money without owning it. I'm trying to get in on one of those. I'm trying to do the math on that. Seth Elkin is here. He gives money away. So we had $3 million plus winners since last week, right?
Yep.
We have all these other things going on. I see a lot of ads for Game of Thrones. You're a sports guy. You're a Pittsburgh sports. You're not a Game of Thrones guy, right?
All right. I will admit I came to this show very late, which is par for the course for me. There's a lot of shows I don't watch while they're in their first run, but
I still haven't seen The Wire. I haven't.
I've heard you say that before, and I don't know how that's possible.
David Simon said, good, don't watch it. You don't need to see it. The reason I never watched The Wire is because I lived in the city and I didn't want to be frightened by the city when I lived there.
Yeah, I guess I can understand that.
I think I'll tell you this, I watched Sopranos. I was a full Sopranos guy all the way, and Sex in the City and a couple of other series. They're all really realistic to me. Like they feel like I'm looking for Jessica, when I'm in New York and when I'm driving through, woke up this morning, got myself. It felt realistic to me at the time, and I felt like if I watch 5 seasons of The Wire and I spend 100 hours with Omar and the whistle and all, I mean, I know enough about it that in 2008, I didn't really need that living in Baltimore. It wasn't where, and it's not really where my head is, but I know it's a great show. One day I'll watch it. I know great Game of Thrones is a great show, but I'll watch The Wire first. I'll watch that one. I'll never watch Game of Thrones, so I don't know.
I came to both of them very late, but I have watched Game of Thrones. It is
in its entirety.
Even if you're not into the whole fantasy kind of content thing, it's engrossing. It was a very well done show, and we've got a scratch off ticket.
Oh, what's it about? Can you just give me a Give me the 20-second Seth Elkin synopsis of what Game of Thrones is.
Oh boy, this will be an adventure. It's the. I think you actually read a summary of it that's as good as anything. It's the battle for supremacy among 7 different families in a fantasy realm.
Doing
That's the
dirty
best way I
stuff to
can
each
describe
other,
it.
basically.
Yeah,
That's
right.
so it's like Dallas or like
Dallas,
Dynasty.
except set in
Right.
medieval times.
Okay,
Yes.
fair enough. Okay. All right, I got it now. Okay. I'm more into it now. I'm looking for who shot JR. Okay.
That's except this is who stabbed somebody,
Okay.
probably.
Okay, fair enough.
So,
Okay. It's old school.
but yeah, the Game of Thrones ticket is out there, and the Game of Thrones Second Chance promotion, which we hope everybody is taking advantage of. We have a really cool Second Chance promotion there, along with that ticket, where you could win a trip to California, to Napa Valley, where you'll have a chance to compete for some very large cash prizes out there. So that is a fun one. That trip will be going to someone next year, but of course the entry period is now. So get your Game of Thrones tickets. You could win up to $50,000 instantly on the Game of Thrones ticket, and enter any of your non-winning tickets into My Lottery Rewards for a chance to be in that Second Chance promotion. So a lot of fun there. Even if you're not a Game of Thrones fanatic, you can get in on that.
I'm too busy watching the Yankees try to win the World Series. Yankees Dodgers. I'll feel like it's 77 and 78 all again. I'll be
Nostalgia.
Reggie,
There you go.
Ron Say, Dave Lopes, my dear friend. Seth Elkin is here for the Maryland Lottery. They have Raven Second Chance going on as well. Get involved. I tell everybody, use the Second Chance. And Seth, just basic mdlottery.com 101 is when you download the app, and I have the app on my phone here. And so when I open it up, and you can see that also you have the Halloween going on too. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Sure.
But this has a little scanner on it. And when I was out at Coco's 2 weeks ago, there was a table of young old timers that were there having the big 11-ounce crab cakes at Coco's, and I gave them tickets. And they're like, "Did I win? Did I?" And I said, "Just scratch off the prize check, just easy, and I'll bring my scanner over." And the really cool part is when you use the scanner, it's terrible for me because if you don't win, I give them the wah, wah, wah. I give them one of those. But if they win, I get to see the balloons explode, even if it's $2. It says you're a winner and congratulations and like things. And I'm thinking, well, that's kind of fun. That's way more fun than looking at it and trying to add up, saying I won. Like when you get the balloons on the digital, that's the way to do it. That's how you know you won, and it's fun.
And it'll tell you if your ticket is a winner, it'll tell you what the prize amount is. So it takes the guesswork out of it. You don't have to worry about trying to figure it out. You don't have to worry about what it's worth when you go to cash it in. You'll know exactly by using the app. So very, very useful and a very actually upgraded app. Earlier this year, we rolled out a new version of the app. It looks really good. It's very smooth, very easy to use. And we encourage everybody to download the app and make use of it because particularly with the ticket checker, it just makes figuring out whether you've won very, very easy.
Well, I would say that for the modern lottery that people wouldn't know, or Miss Edie, who left us years ago, used to play the lottery. Get my numbers up here, Zaninos. That's my east side. I could do a whole shtick on that, but in the modern era, if Miss Edie were here and she was a player, she would have it on her phone. She would use second chances. She would be checking odds and doing all the things that you can do to say, what's my best chance of winning? What do I do? I don't care about Game of Thrones, but I love the Ravens and I'd love to win that sort of prize. That you play the games that you're into where you can win, but more than that, the second chance and the add up on the app is really, dare I say, the Marriott Rewards program or the Southwest brought to life. That if you are a player, it gives you your best chance to win money. You're not playing, you're playing to win money. If you're playing the lottery, you're trying to win money. This is your best chance to win money and really cool things.
And of course, we hope everybody remembers to play in moderation and responsibly as they're trying to win money. It's something to do for fun. It's something to do for entertainment. But have a limit. Set a limit on what you plan to spend, and do it in moderation. Do it in a way that's fun. If you find that it becomes a little more frustrating for you than it is fun, then that's your cue. That's your first indication, and maybe stop and think about how much are you playing and how much do you want to continue playing. So we always encourage everybody, enjoy it and make sure you're enjoying it. And if you're not enjoying it, take a time out and please play responsibly and within your means.
Absolutely. And, we gave the 1-800-GAMBLER. Last week we talked about the big numbers being up. And honestly, on that topic, I've noticed more journalism being done this week, this month, on people telling their story that, hey, modern gambling came my way and I couldn't handle it. And I think for anybody struggling to read those stories and saying, if that's you, get some help, because we have fun here and we talk about it. My wife has fun. I was going to tell you, how much is Mega Millions and Powerball right now? One was 400 million, you said?
Yeah, Powerball's up over 400 million, and the Mega Millions is up over 180 million at this point.
Well, you might as well take the $20 bill right out of my wallet right now. Just give it to the Royal Farm store down the street because my wife's going to play because she loves to play. She loves to check her tickets, and she plays responsibly. Trust me, I have an eye on her as well. Seth Elkin is here. How are the Penguins? Is this? I mean, should I ask?
Well, they have missed the playoffs the last 2 years, and I will not be surprised if that happens again because it's been a little bit of a struggle piecing a roster together. But after a blowout loss in the opener, they've won 2 of 3 since then, so kind of righted the ship a little bit, and they are starting to become a little entertaining to watch. So I'm enjoying that and hoping for the best this year.
My wife and I were out at Cooper's North the other night having delicious blackened tuna wrap, and I looked up and the Caps season was starting, and I didn't really realize it. Like it was the night that they brought all the 50th anniversary in their 51st season because they skipped a year or whatever. So they brought back legends, so seeing great players come back who are now like a little gray like me. Even seeing they brought Gabby back. He didn't curse, but I know he did probably off camera. But they brought Bruce Boudreau back. And my wife even knows who Bruce Boudreau is because he was on the original. He was a Penguin farmhand in 1984 when I had my first press pass 40 years ago at the Baltimore Civic Center, now the CFG Bank Arena. Bruce Boudreau was a player on Gene Ubriaco's team who went on to become the coach, not only the Capitals, but was the coach of my wife's team in Manchester, the Manchester Monarchs. When the night I met my wife, in Manchester, I met my wife at a hockey game. I've told you this, at an AHL game in Manchester, New Hampshire. She was a season ticket holder. That Bruce Boudreau was the coach of the team. So she knew Bruce Boudreau from around town because he had coached the team. Then he came and coached the Caps and Anaheim, all that stuff that he did. But he is an enduring figure in my hockey life. And there he was on the screen. She's like, "Hey, look, it's Gabby," and I'm like, "Yeah." So I have a hockey wife, which is cool, right?
Yep, very, very good. I'm glad it's hockey season. It's always a lot of fun for me. I'm probably one of the few and the proud hockey fans around here, but certainly at the lottery anyway. But
here's one thing you need to know. You think you look old because you're bald, but I think you look younger, way younger than me. I am old. I turned 56 this week for real. Like it's on the record. I even bragged about it. Ovechkin looks older than both of us. I'm just going to say that.
That's for sure.
That's for sure. So there's my cheap shot for Ted Leonsis and the Caps. Seth Elkin is here. By the way, bring the Stanley Cup up, Ted. Anytime you want to bring it up after you lied to me for years about how you were going to parade the Stanley Cup around Baltimore. Just go get it in Toronto and bring it back to Baltimore. He is Seth Elkin. He is a Penguins fan and a Pittsburgh supporter, sympathizer. But we don't play you for a couple weeks. I mean, come on the week of the Steelers game. It's more fun when you're here that week, all right?
Maybe we'll and John can referee between us. I don't know. The Cleveland Browns fan. If there's
John won't be here next week. I'll tell you right now, next week might be a bad week. The Cleveland football situation, no bueno, right? You would agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, as many question marks as there are around the quarterback situation in Pittsburgh, I would rather be in that situation than what the Browns are dealing with. That's correct.
We're having another great National Football League season here. Our friends at the Maryland Lottery are in partnership with the Baltimore Ravens. I will have Ravens scratch-offs to give away on the Maryland Crab Cake Tour, presented by our friends at Jiffy Lube, as well as the Maryland Lottery. Everything we're doing is now up at Baltimore Positive. The website looks awesome. We've had great guests this week. We're getting ready for football in Tampa this week, and we're getting the Maryland Crab Cake Tour. A dozen dates by the end of the year. All of them sort of coming together. I'm going to have one big list of these out before Halloween as we get on to pumpkin and spice and everything nice in turkey season. I'm Nestor. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore positive.